Nick Ross and Jill Dando need your help first on BBC One. Crimewatch UK.
Good evening. Tonight we've Josie Russell's story, the reconstruction made possible by the girl who virtually came back from the dead and has been able to describe what happened, and the have-a-go hero who tried to stop a bank raid and was seriously injured.
A year ago today, an unprecedented crime took place which astonished and sickened the whole nation. On a sunlit afternoon, Lynn Russell, her daughters Josie and Megan, and their dog Lucy were waylaid as they walked home from school and then slaughtered. Somehow, Josie survived, and as you may well have seen on the news today and in the newspapers, Kent Police have asked us to make another full-scale national appeal. It includes parts of what we showed you last year, but it's now enriched with new witness information. Above all, there's what Josie herself has been able to contribute.
Okay, Sean?
Oh, right. In those early days, I wasn't sure at all that she would survive. So the fact that you now see a bouncy little happy girl is, well, miraculous, really, was the only word I could think of to describe it. Right from stage one, I thought, if I've got to care for a brain-damaged child who is totally incapable, doesn't worry me, that's what I will do. Now, I'm coping with a child who gives me the real runaround. I mean, I'm very happy that she is showing the normal ups and downs of any child of her age.
Show us how high you can go.
No, I can just go up there.
Yeah? Right, I'll look after your sweets and I promise not to eat them.
Okay, I'll go up and down. Okay?
Yeah.
It's this. Here.
People have talked about her having an engaging mix of girlishness and sort of tomboy-like traits, but I think that's quite a nice mixture in a child, especially of her age.
3, 3.
Well, that's very
Tennis.
very fair.
It's very difficult sometimes to remember that this child has had this massive head injury. And there have been times when I've been utterly amazed at her recall and how she's been able to show us what's happened, and even more amazed, absolutely staggered and really taken aback that she's actually been able to put it into words now. She's never really deviated from what she's been showing us. Now, of course, she's actually able to talk and verbalise about what did happen to her. And that's made it even more chilling, really.
So how many lengths did you have to swim?
100 metres.
Really? My goodness me, that's a long way.
So this then is what can now be pieced together. Tuesday, July the 9th, coming home from school in Goodnestone between Canterbury and Deal. Josie remembers the journey. With both parents being scientists, it was always something of a nature trail.
So when's your next swimming class? Oh, that's lovely.
Next week. Next week. Okay.
A woman driving on their route remembers that day too. She stopped because of hay fever and saw a woman, 2 children and a dog join Buckland Lane, the Aylsham to Staple Road. Josie has now confirmed they walked that way that afternoon. It should be 30 minutes walk from school to home with just this short stretch of road and then back across the tracks between the fields.
Look at you, you're so scruffy.
Just before they turned off, a local teacher saw them.
I always travel home from my work in the afternoons along a lane that runs from the back of Goodnestone to Chillenden. As I passed the end of Cherry Garden Lane, I looked down. I saw a figure in green or brown clothes. It was unusual seeing anyone there, and what I especially remember are these bright skipping figures trotting along in the sunlight.
You look lovely. And scruffy too.
I drove on past Nucket's Wood and I saw, pretty sure it was on that day, an orangey red car.
She was surprised to find the car was empty. It's a strange place to want to park.
Don't know. No sign of your woodpecker today, is there? No.
And now the startling evidence from Josie.
Josie, get back. The car coming. What are you doing?
Got any money?
No, I haven't got anything with me.
I want some money.
Well, look, I'll go home and get you some.
No.
Josie. Josie, go, run.
Josie says the man ran after her and caught her. She was taken with the others through the trees. They were tied up. The dog was strung up by its lead, and the man then began to beat them with a hammer. A little later, a local resident had to slow down as a car pulled out in front of her. It was coming from the direction of the murder scene.
Come on.
He was staring hard at her, and she vividly recalls his face. This is the e-fit she compiled last year, and police today revealed that Josie has been shown this and says it's very like the man who ambushed and attacked her. He's in his 30s with chubby cheeks. His hair was gingery blonde and straight with a short fringe. Hours later, when the massacre had been discovered, it seemed everyone was dead. But a doctor found Josie still had a pulse.
You're used to seeing your child as a bright, fairly perfect individual, and when you see someone battered black and blue, covered in blood and stitches and, so they're virtually unrecognizable. It was only Josie's freckles that told me it was her at all and not her sister, because I didn't know when we first went to the hospital which one of the girls it was going to be awaiting me there. But it's a terrible thing just by chance that she is the one who survived, that she is the one who, it's all had to happen to her. Yes, the main victims were my wife and Megan. They died. But Josie is a victim who's had to suffer then and now and further into the future.
A chilling and tragic account, as Sean Russell says, made it even more so because Josie actually remembers what happened. Dave Stevens, a year has passed. You still haven't found the murderer. How have the public helped you in that year?
The public really have helped enormously. Their support has been overwhelming. We pieced together a story which hasn't led to the killer. We still haven't received that vital piece of information that's led to an arrest.
But Josie has now been able to talk. She's been able to give you the information that she can remember. How is that going to help?
She's helped in many ways. In particular, she describes the killer. She describes the killer as looking very similar to our e-fit.
In his 20s or 30s?
That's right. She also describes the car, which is similar to other descriptions that we've had, although the colour is somewhat different. Josie certainly describes a red car, but of course witnesses, non-traumatised witnesses, can get colours wrong, of course.
And what about the motive and his manner? What did she say about that?
Well, for the first time, we have a description of motive. The man asked for money. Was this a petty thief? Was this a person in the area that was looking to burglar a house, perhaps? Also, there were some other features about this that were very, very interesting. There were things about his demeanour. He was very calm when he first approached Lynn and the children. And also, when he was binding Josie, he actually said, "Are they too tight? Are your bindings too tight?" Is this a man who's obviously overtly violent? Maybe not.
Possibly a man, if it was to be believed, with a milligram of compassion in a situation like
Perhaps,
this.
yes. Perhaps, as I say, it's not somebody who's obviously violent.
Now, a year has passed, as we've said. People have had plenty of time to come to you with information. You haven't had that vital shred of evidence. Who are you appealing to tonight?
Well, I'm really appealing to anybody with information, however small. People do say, well, I don't want to waste the police time. But of course, we are the best judge of that. A small piece of information linked with other information could cause the vital breakthrough. But in particular, I think I'm appealing to somebody who may have an idea as to who the killer is. Perhaps a wife or a mother or a close friend. It takes an enormous amount of courage to come forward, to come to the police and say, I think it is a particular individual. Can I reassure the public that your call will be treated in confidence? Your safety is paramount to us. We've trained officers who will take that call. Please, can I implore you to come forward, pick up that phone now and give us that information.
Dave Stevens, thank you very much. There is forensic evidence which can actually eliminate the person if it isn't that man. Now, please don't hesitate. We obviously have to catch this person. 0500 600 600. That's our free call number here to DCI Dave Stevens and his colleagues. Or call the incident room on 01622 654 321. It'd be wonderful if we could catch this person 1 year on today. That's Maidstone 654 321.
Well, let me tell you a bit about previous cases, because a lot's happened since last month. There have been 7 arrests as a direct result of viewers' calls, and 2 other people identified by viewers are now being sought by the police. But the most spectacular response was to Operation Lynx, the huge inquiry into a series of abductions and rapes going back to 1982. Well over 1,000 calls revealed important new witnesses and a good deal of new clues. Detectives now think the offender was in prison between 1985 and 1993. Now, if you work in a prison or were in custody yourself during that period, or if you know someone who looked like this sometime in those 8 years in prison, please call us 0500 600 600 or Nottingham 0115 967 2281. That's 0115 967 2281. And now here's Detective Constable Jackie Hames.
This is about a man with a serious problem, and we need to help find him before he injures somebody else. Here he is, going into Gospel Oak Station in North London. We also need to find the guy on the right. Incidentally, this is 3 weeks ago, early evening, on Tuesday the 17th of June. Here they are again, coming up to the platform, and watch as the man in blue denims goes up to a passenger on the platform bench. The fat man pulls out what looks like a baseball bat, and, well, we won't show what happened next. It appears to have been an unprovoked attack. The victim had a serious head wound needing 18 stitches and several broken bones. Here's the man with him. Who's he? If this man's known to you, a friend or relative perhaps, please don't hesitate to call 0500 600 600 or British Transport Police on 0171 957 1123. That's 0171 957 1123.
People act unpredictably, often dramatically so, when they're bystanders to a crime. Some, to their shame, pretend they haven't noticed. Some, to their own surprise, turn into heroes, even when confronted by guns, knives, or in this case, a hammer and a metal stave. 2 months ago, seeing a violent robbery in Allerton on Merseyside, a man who, even now, can scarcely believe he acted as he did, launched a rugby tackle on a bank raider. The raiders were as cowardly as he was brave. He was hammered in the face so savagely that he's been terribly injured and badly traumatised.
Hello.
Hello.
10:45 on a Thursday in early May. Time for a trip to the post office to pay some bills. Terry Dean, though that's not his real name, then drove to the bank.
Barbecue tonight, no?
Oh no, roast it instead. Don't barbecue it. No.
A driver stopped to find out what was going on. and got a good look at one member of the gang. Mid-20s, mousy brown hair, collar length at the back, and Oasis style in a fringe just above his eyebrows at the front. But like Oasis, he might since have had it cut.
Come on, you bastards!
Oh my God.
Oh,
He's
God.
really hurt. Hey, pal, call an ambulance and the police, will you? It's on its way.
His face was in a mess. Well, you know, they hurt him bad. You know, he was unconscious. He couldn't really talk. Because I was trying to talk to him, you know, and he could hardly speak. He was in shock.
Down Brodie Avenue, and the cash box alarm must have attracted a great deal of attention, but its smoke bomb failed to detonate. Had it done so, the inside of the car would have been choked and stained with brightly coloured dye. Then into the Stamfordham estate.
I was just getting ready to go out, and I heard this screech of car tyres coming to a halt. The passenger really panicked. The driver got out, and it was like as if he knew exactly which way to head.
They ran down Mostyn Avenue and into an alley that leads to Caldwell Road or Ramsey Close. Which way did they go?
I walked over towards the car. I noticed the leads were put together. I heard this car, and I just noticed our blue Volvo.
Where'd they go?
Down there.
Who was this man? The other robber or another witness? Terry Dean had taken a hammer blow, shattering his cheekbone in 3 places and trapping a major nerve. The left side of his face will be permanently numb, and he'll suffer nagging pain for the rest of his life.
Peter Edge, though we said what his injuries were, actually we hugely sanitised that film, didn't we?
Well, yes, what your film doesn't show is actually what went on in the bank. The 2 guys jumped out of the XR2, ran in behind the security guard, and they attacked him from behind.
Without asking him for the money first?
No demands, no preamble, no threats. They just struck him with the weapons that you saw in the reconstruction there.
Now, you've got a lot of witnesses already. The other ones you need are what? Obviously, you've got to find out where the third robber went.
Yeah, there's a period here where the third man is missing. Obviously, there were 3 men in the car, the 2 attackers and the driver at Booker Avenue. By the time the car's abandoned in Mostyn Avenue, there are only 2. We desperately need to know where that third man went.
Now, is that the third man in the blue Volvo, or is this someone who's perhaps been cut up by the XR2 and he's angry with them, or perhaps a witness?
We've no idea who the man in the Volvo is, but we desperately need to get in touch with him too.
The XR2 itself had been stolen from a university car park. Tell us how people might be able to help about that car.
Well, it was stolen about 24 hours before, roughly midday, from Chatham Street car park. It's a flashy car, it's white, it's very distinctive. It's presumably been housed somewhere overnight, and if anyone has seen that car in that 24-hour period before the robbery, we'd ask them to contact us.
Is this a group that's come into the area to do the robbery, or are they local men, do you think?
There's certainly a few of them we think that are local men. The witness describes the driver as knowing exactly what he was doing. The route through Stamfordham Drive is fairly tortuous, and he would have had to know where he was going.
That E-fit is a pretty good description. People might recognise that. I mean, do you think people are going to call in because they know these guys who've been in trouble with the police before? I mean, they won't have shown this violence from scratch, will they? They will have done something like it before.
Well, one presumes so, but at the end of the day, these guys they're very violent people. They're out of control. To do this sort of attack on the security guard and then on an innocent passerby who tries to intervene is unbelievable.
Peter, thank you. Here's the number, live here to the studio at Peter Edge here in London, or you can reach his colleagues in Merseyside, the number there, 0151 777 5070. That's 0151 777 5070. And now on the track of people wanted for equally serious offences, here's Superintendent David Hatcher.
Yes, this is someone who needs to be discovered quickly. George Robshaw is wanted for questioning about an unprovoked attack in Bridlington on the coast of Yorkshire. He's tall, 6'1", and young, aged 22. He has short dark hair and what's described as a boxer's nose. He's a gypsy who has links around the country, especially Leeds, York and London. The victim was on a life support machine for 3 weeks, so if you know where Mr. Robshaw is, don't hesitate to call on 0500 600 600. That's 0500 600 600, or the incident room on 01482 856 556. That's Hull 856 556. And now to Brent John Savage. Here he is, and he's wanted on a charge of supplying Class A drugs. He's been so keen to avoid the police that he left some clothes and a suicide note in a seaside hotel in Lincolnshire, but detectives hope it was a hoax. He's a lorry driver and he may be back in the haulage business. At any rate, if you've seen him or know where he is tonight, do everyone a favour and call us on 0500 600 600 or Northampton Police on 01604 703 439. That's Northampton 703 439.
I said earlier there's a lot to report since Crimewatch last month, and let me tell you in particular about the terrible unprovoked attack on a couple at a London railway station. Several viewers thought they recognised those involved, and 2 men have now been charged with causing grievous bodily harm. There's been progress too on the gang of schoolboys who tried to rob building societies in central London. You may recall one of them was nearly crushed by the security screen as it came up. Police have made 1 arrest and hope to make others shortly. A viewer in a pub was astonished to see another customer trying out a con that we just described on Crimewatch. He dialed 999, and it turned out it wasn't just the same trick, it was the same con man that detectives had been seeking all along. And a brilliant piece of recognition by a viewer, coupled with some equally brilliant detective work, led to a man in Norfolk wanted after a police officer in Kent was run down by a car. Now to Jackie Hames with some people already known to the police. The problem is, where are they?
Starting with Martin Kelsey. He's wanted for an interview about a variety of deceptions, and watch out for your wallet too. Here he is coming out of a bank in Hexham in Northumberland. Here he is again, this time in Sunderland and again in Anwick. He's wanted by West Midlands Police, the Met, Strathclyde, Humberside and Northumbria. If you've seen him, call 0500 600 600 or Northumbria Police on 0191 454 7555. That's 0191 454 7555. Now, a quick warning about taking cheques from this man. He calls himself John Peters. He may have an NUS student card or letters addressed to John Peters in Cardiff, but he's bogus, so don't believe him. We'd like to know his real identity and where he is. He may be an illegal immigrant, perhaps from Nigeria, and he might now be in London. But wherever he is tonight, do give us a ring, 0500 600 600 or the incident room in Cardiff on 01222 527 418. That's Cardiff 527 418.
Now, a murder next door to a police station. It happened 7 months ago, Saturday the 30th of November, a big night for fans of jungle music. 2,500 people travelled from all across Britain to the Island Club in Ilford, Essex. Chris Lombard was a door supervisor on the night. Here he is in a home video. Several people were refused entry to the club that evening. Some had to be ejected. But at 3 a.m, in accordance with the club's licence, the doors were closed. About half an hour later, this happened. This sequence was taken by chance by a traffic officer coming off duty. Look at the right of the screen. 2 men have approached the locked doors to the club. They then fired 7 bullets through the glass. Then they sprinted off towards Green Lane. The gunman's wearing a distinctive black jacket with reflective stripes. His accomplice is an Orsino-style beige. Chris had been hit 4 times and died almost instantly. 2 colleagues also had gunshot wounds. One was injured quite seriously. This is the gunman. There were several witnesses. We've got a good description. He's pretty young, 17, maybe 20. Medium height, medium to athletic build, short hair, shaved at the sides, and he's said to have unusually small ears. His accomplice is paler, about the same height, 5'8", with broad athletic shoulders and a goatee, beard and moustache. We'll now go back to the pictures from the passing police car. This man is not involved in the crime. But who is he? Those are Moschino trousers. He's got a green combat jacket. If that's you, if you know who he is, please call us right away. As I say, this is for elimination only. 2 cars also need to be eliminated. This one's a light-coloured E-Reg Ford Granada, seen parked at the mini roundabout in Green Lane. It had a Christian Witness chrome fish symbol on the back. Also another car, a silver Prelude, we think, we're not sure, maybe a black spoiler. That was seen parked in a car park close by to the Island Club. If you can link any of these clues, call us now, please. There's a reward, in fact, a very, very big reward indeed. The number here is 0500 600 600, or you can call the police in Ilford. They're on 0181 478 1123. That's 0181 478 1123.
There were several witnesses to our next crime. Some have actually helped to relive the events in our reconstruction. The location is Ruislip in Middlesex on a Friday at the start of May, in fact the day after the general election. But our film begins about half an hour away in Hertfordshire. Sometime overnight on Friday the 25th of April, this Vauxhall Cavalier was stolen from Livingston Walk in Hemel Hempstead. One week later in Ruislip, Middlesex.
Well, I'd been into hospital to have a dental abscess removed on the Wednesday, and I was having 2 days off to recover. And I decided to go into town to make me feel better.
The stolen Vauxhall Cavalier was also in Ruislip that day.
When I was walking home, I didn't notice anything unusual. I didn't notice anyone following me. I was just getting on with my business and I didn't notice anything abnormal at all.
But did someone notice her and decide to follow her the short distance home?
Hello, love. Do you want your roof doing?
No, not really. No, thanks.
I'd never seen the man before. I don't know where he came from. Normally with callers, once you say you're not interested, they get on their way, but he was a bit more persistent. I'd say he was about 35, fairly tall, maybe nearly 6 foot, very slight build, bluey-green eyes, sallow complexion, and brown collar-length greasy hair. His nose looked as if it'd been broken and it flared out at the bottom. Well, by now I wanted to get rid of him. I had a lot of things to do. I'd spent a few minutes talking to him, and then he was in.
Don't scream, or I'll kill you.
What do you want? Do you want money?
Yeah, where'd you keep it?
I've just come back from shopping. There's some in the kitchen.
Right, let's go in there then.
I was very scared, but I wanted to keep calm and not anger him.
I haven't got a lot in there, only credit cards.
Where'd you keep the cash?
We don't have much cash. There might be some Marks and Spencer's vouchers.
I don't want vouchers, I want Reddies.
There might be some money with them.
Go on then.
Inside I was screaming, but I couldn't struggle, I couldn't do anything, because I knew it would anger him and I'd come off worse.
Once upstairs, the man carried out a serious sexual assault.
I was just so desperate for him not to rape me, and I pleaded with him not to. I must have asked him not to on several occasions throughout the attack. I was really, really scared. There was one point where I thought he was going to kill me. I thought, that's it, he's done what he's going to do and there's no way out and I'm going to die.
We're going to get the credit cards and get some money out on them. Scream and I'll kill you.
I knew that once I was out of my house, I was going to try and get away. As soon as I saw that car, I knew I was going to scream and I just prayed the car would stop.
Don't try anything, because you know what will happen.
Help! Help!
I was driving down the road taking my daughter swimming.
I've been raped, please! Please!
At first I didn't know if it was for real or not, but I could tell by the look on her face that it was genuine.
I was nearly home.
Hello, what are you doing home?
I was just dropping some stuff off.
Didn't expect to see you.
When I saw a man running towards me. At first, I didn't know what was happening. Then I realised and gave chase. Once I got over the bridge, I couldn't see him anywhere. It was only when I heard the engine start that I saw he was in the car.
Fairfield Avenue, Ruislip. I've been attacked. He got into a green car. My neighbours tried to stop him. Yes. Oh, I've got the car registration number. It's B193DOK.
Then, about 15 minutes later, in Bushey, Hertfordshire.
I was driving along the high road when I approached the lights, which were green. I could see this car pull out of a stream of traffic. But next thing I know, there was a major impact.
And even before police could be called, the man ran off. And he's still at large. Terry Stroud, where could he have gone?
Well, there are a number of options of public transport available to him. There's a lot of train stations in the area, a number of minicab firms, any of which he could have used. He ran off into woodland and no one saw him from there. He could have been injured, could have had cuts and bruises from the accident, we don't know.
And he could have been noticeably agitated as well.
He could well have been, yeah.
Now, you had a very good description of him. We saw the e-fit. Just run through the description for us again.
Well, he's about 6 foot tall and 35 years of age, very slim build with a sallow complexion. The victim describes him as having greeny blue eyes and collar-length brown hair which was very greasy and in need of a good wash. He wore a distinctive blue and white either check or stripy shirt, which was very thick material and too thick really for the weather on the day.
Now, he left behind one or two pretty obvious clues, didn't he?
He did. He left at the house itself, he left behind a pair of sunglasses, which we've got here in the studio, and in the car, in his haste to get away, he left the Levi's cap. Yeah. From the scene itself, he took a purse identical to the one we have in the studio, with the letters BUAV written on them, which is the British Union of Anti-Vivisectionists. That still hasn't been recovered. Perhaps one of the viewers has actually seen him with that.
Yeah, it had credit cards inside as well.
It had credit cards inside it as well.
Now, the car he was driving, we know it was stolen any time between 7 p.m. on the 25th of April and 10 a.m. the following morning. Now, the offence was committed on the 2nd of May, so right. It had been driven around.
Obviously been kept somewhere in between. When it was stolen, it had very little petrol in it, and when it was recovered, it had got a forced petrol cap, so obviously petrol was put in it somewhere during that period of time. Also, it was stolen from Hemel Hempstead in Hertfordshire, and the crash after our incident was at Bushey, and it was on a general route back towards Hertfordshire, so we believe he's got Hertfordshire connections.
Do you think this attack was premeditated?
It was certainly planned to commit an offence. He'd got a stolen car and he'd got the screwdrivers with him. He went out there obviously intending to steal. He was talking about Reddies all the time with the victim. I believe he probably picked on the victim having seen her walking through the streets.
Well, let's hope we catch him. Thank you very much indeed, Terry. Thank you for that information. Well, 0500 600 600 is the number live here to the studio. Or you can call the incident room in Uxbridge on 01895 251 212. That's 01895 251 212. Now here's David Hatcher again with 2 men wanted for deceptions.
In fact, the first one's wanted for questioning about some robberies too. Here he is in Weybridge, Surrey, cashing stolen travellers' cheques. He's 30-ish, tallish and slim with short dark hair. We think this is the same man in Bicester in Oxfordshire, taken about 3 months ago. Call us if you know him on 0500 600 600 or 01483 531 111. That's Guildford 531 111. And next, a couple of villains who could even be father and son. The credit cards they're using were stolen from a man in the West End of London. Here they are in an off-licence at Dulwich in South London 7 weeks ago. The older one is average height but portly and balding. The younger one is in his mid-20s and slightly taller, maybe 5'10". His hair is blondish brown. It appears they're hoping to celebrate because they're buying boxes of vintage and top-name champagne. They may have been involved in other crimes too. But who are they? 0500 600 600 or 0171 957 1123. That's 0171 957 1123.
Tonight, an armed response unit is standing by, ready to go into action as soon as you've seen the coming reconstruction. It's about a most unusual gunman, a loner who travels round the country robbing small branches of building societies. The clues are now so strong, someone is surely bound to recognise him in the next few minutes.
We came to Halifax to get some cash out to go shopping with. We saw a car It was right up against the window, so much so that you couldn't walk past it.
Hi. Hi.
Withdrawal, please.
Okay.
60.
60.
Been busy?
No, it's been quite quiet actually today.
Oh. Spending the money again?
Good on you. Can you just sign it there for me, please? That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60.
Thanks.
All right. See you. Bye-bye.
We noticed that there was something odd about a man in the car. It was a very shiny, new-looking car, a dark racing green.
He looks a bit odd, does he?
And yet the man looked extremely scruffy, and he was staring into the Halifax. He wasn't looking round as you'd expect him to.
12 days later.
Then I decided to do the stationery order, have a cigarette while it's quiet, and a customer came in. Didn't actually speak to him, just watched what he was doing. He was just wandering around the shop, getting a general feel for the office, I presume. And he just sort of turned round and walked to the door.
Thank you.
And went. Something that just wasn't right. It was strange that, you know, he'd sort of disappeared so quickly. I was going to ring my boss saying I've had somebody really strange in, but I thought, no, it's just one of these people. And the gentleman came back.
My wife's interested in a property for sale in Park Road.
Do you want to show me which one it is?
Do you know what this is? Where'd you keep your cash?
In the safe.
Dang it. Now, unlock this door, put the cash in there. All of it.
That's it.
Right, stand up. In the back. Stay there.
Three weeks later.
Hello. Yes, we had a call from our Blackburn office about that, actually, just a couple of weeks ago, yeah. Oh, right, just hold on, please.
By now, police were ringing round businesses in the area, urging them to be on the lookout.
Have you got that bit of paper, you know, with the description with that chap who's been doing all the burglaries, robberies?
Oh, yes, here it is.
Super. Lovely. Thank you. Yes, I've got it here. White male, 30 to 40 years old, 6'2", stocky build with a beer belly, a beard, woolly hat. Yeah, that's it. Yes, thanks very much. Bye now, bye.
Oh, what did they say?
Well, they now know he's got a mole on the right side of his face, beside his nose.
A few hundred yards away, about 2 hours later.
I remember that Thursday well. I normally go to a yoga class, but that day I was too busy. Sometime after 1 o'clock, I saw a car manoeuvring. I thought he was making a mess of his driving, actually, because he seemed to be trying to position it very carefully. It was a red car, a bright red, largish Sierra Mondeo, possibly a BMW. He was tall, 6 foot, something like that, beer belly, a shiny head, not completely bald. He had hair sort of down the side, but he was bald on top. And he had a dark jacket on, a T-shirt underneath.
And I reckon we'd just pretend we didn't recognise him.
Could do.
Yeah.
I may just try and get the panic button.
I took one look at him and I realised instantly that it was him. He was about 35 to 40, stocky with a beer belly. He was tall. It would be about 6'2", 6'3", and he had a close-cropped beard, dark brown probably. It might just have been a few days' growth.
My wife's interested in the property out for sale. Sunnymead.
Yes, Megan.
Yes, can I help you?
Sunnymead, the property my wife's interested. You know what this is?
Oh my God.
Stay. Where'd you keep the cash?
It's upstairs.
Show me. Come on.
I mean, when somebody's pointing a gun to your head, you think of your parents and you think of your own family and children. It suddenly hit you that he'd been in and we'd been robbed and held at gunpoint, and it didn't seem real, if you like.
Stay sitting there.
It's all right, that's the lot. You've got it all.
Get down there.
I was just trying to keep him calm so that he didn't panic and fire at us. It just doesn't take money, it takes a part of you, it takes your confidence. And you feel angry because you feel very traumatised, and he's gone swanning off and doesn't give a damn, really.
Well, those were 2 out of at least 12 raids across the country so far in the last 9 months. The last one was on Friday. Let me point out, security has been strengthened, but if you work in a small building society branch, do check your security precautions first thing tomorrow and make sure your head office gives you all the backup you need. DCR Neil Smith is investigating this catalogue of crimes. He's now waiting for your call. Here's the gunman caught on video before a robbery in Lancashire. Incidentally, he always seems to operate on Thursdays or Fridays. Why? The man is tall, 5'10" to 6'2". He's heavily built, and as you can see, sometimes has a beard. And he may have a Neapolitan Mastiff, perhaps a bit like one of these. It's quite a rare breed. We think, incidentally, that the man also has a Lancashire accent, not a Newcastle one, a Geordie one, as we portrayed. If you think you might know who he is, give us a call, 0500 600 600 or 01772 410 410. That's Preston 410 410.
A stunning response to our appeal for information on the Russell murders. More than 100 calls so far this evening. Several suggested names for officers to deal with, but significantly, we're getting calls from people who have been frightened to call in before. Don't be frightened, as the officer in charge said, your information is vital. A number of names mentioned for the robbery in Liverpool. One call suggests that robbers may have struck before, and a lot of activity on our other cases as well this evening. And that's all for this month. Our lines are open for another half an hour or so, and you'll see other numbers listed in a moment. They're also on CFAX, don't forget, on page 621. If you've a computer and a modem, you could reach us here at Crimewatch UK at the BBC. That's CWUK at bbc.co.uk. And if you've any information on a crime we haven't covered tonight, try Crime Stoppers, and they're on 0800 555 111.
We'll be back at midnight with an update on tonight's cases. A lot to tell you then. If you can't stay up, well, we'll be back next month, Tuesday, August the 5th. Meantime, arrests through Crimewatch viewers have now breached the 500 mark. The latest tally on Crimewatch cases since we started is, well, we've covered 1,632 cases. As a direct result of viewers' calls, have so far been 514 arrests. These are mostly very serious offences. In fact, 42 have led to life sentences. So once again, unless you're wanted by the police, don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.